right, there we go. How's everybody doing? Looks like we got some volume. Check, check. We like that. So, blessings to everyone. This is another episode of State of the Real Estate Market. So, before we tune completely in and get started, we just want to test one or two things. Ah, So, looks like we will be face to face today. All right, all right. Here we go. Here we go. Why did that just do that? All right. Well, hey, we all know that today is State of the Real Estate Market with yours truly. My name is Chris Brown. This is a platform that we not only talk about buying, selling, and investing in real estate, but we also talk about different things, hot topics regarding entrepreneurship, generational wealth, wealth building, and then also, as you guys know, and those who don't know, I am an advocate of health is wealth. So true advocate of health is wealth. So let's dive on in. Let's really see what we got going on today. I think sometimes things are working perfectly, and then sometimes you give us a little bit of a challenge, and it looks like we may have a little bit of a challenge, but hey, let's roll with the punches. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive on in and see what we have going on today. Look at that picture. Look at that. So um, typically what we do is we like to see what the different things that have actually changed in the market. So as we go through this today, national existing home sales slipped 1.7% in July to a 4.06 million annual pace. So something to consider, but we'll go through some of these changes and discuss these in today's episode. Florida moved to the other direction. July single family closings rose 5.1% year over year. Condo townhomes closing rose 11%. So that was a concern, a big concern at one point regarding condos and townhomes. There were some different guidelines, regulations that were passed that made it a little bit more of a seemingly of a challenge for sellers to get property. So mortgage rates remain the pressure point. That's the hot topic right now as we go into these mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are continuously a conversation that people are having. Hot topic. July pending home contracts fell 2.3%, and single family housing starts dropped 9.9%. Something to consider. You always want to look at seeing what's going on in the market. Translation buyers are active, but they are selective. Yeah, buyers are starting to be a bit more selective, picky. We've seen that trending. So this isn't something that's new. For those who've been following me, the market, this isn't something that's just all of a sudden with the market. It's been trending that way for a little while. And Florida is outperforming parts of the national picture. Yes. And that's also been going on for a while. Florida's actually been shining for a good amount of time now, making things a little bit more interesting for people that are looking at that particular market. So let's go ahead and dive on in, see what else we have. So, quick audience check in. So, something I wanted to do. I really wanted to see what everyone was doing these days. What are they considering next moves? For those who are out there in the chat who are watching this on replay or whenever you're watching it, but you know, if you are in the process of buying before the end of the year, hit A. I'm actually looking to pick up an investment property before the end of the year. So I'm gonna hit A as well. But I may have a couple of things. If you hit B, if you're looking to sell or reposition, if you do have a property that you may be considering selling, go ahead and hit B. Hit B in the chat. If you're looking to invest, which is me, I am looking to invest. Go ahead and hit C. And then for those who are just still sitting on the fence, if you're still sitting on the fence trying to figure out things, go ahead and hit D. But I'm an A and a C. Primary reason being is because what's going on in my world. Right now, I am looking to acquire an investment property. That particular property would be a buy and hold, not necessarily a buy and flip, but a buy and hold for me. So multi-unit is in my world. So if you guys are listening to this and you may have a property, feel free to reach out to me. Maybe something I may be interested in. But let me know what you guys are thinking, what you guys got going on. But I thought I'd do a little poll to kind of see what the audience is thinking these days. What are people doing out there in the market? So keep that in mind. All right, today's agenda, so that you guys know how this works. If this is your first time uh, attending the State of the Real Estate Market with yours truly, Chris Brown, be sure to like and subscribe. Lots going on. Always encourage you guys to do so. So always encourage you to do so. But one of the things that I definitely want you guys to know is about today's agenda. Today's agenda, we're going to have different hot topics such as a national snapshot. Typically, I go way out here and then I bring it on into the local market. So we look at the national snapshot, then we'll look at the Florida snapshot, seeing what's going on, the surprising July strength and what it means, and then we come to the Tampa Bay area. Now, I give some statistics. A lot of times when I give this information, I know Tampa Bay is much bigger than some of the information that I'm going to be giving, but I do select three counties. That's Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Manatee County. I know we have Pasco, we have Hernando, we have Polk County as well that are all right close knit as part of that Tampa Bay. But I try to keep it simple for you guys. If you guys want more information on details, maybe more specific about your market, you always have an opportunity to do a one-on-one if you do have a property that you are considering selling. So also we'll be talking about the rates and financing. We'll be discussing builders and new construction. The builders, especially in the Tampa Bay area, it's going to be a hot topic for a while, and it's also going to be very important, especially for my guys and gals that are looking to resell their properties. Investing in commercial real estate. Commercial has really been going on. A lot of people have been asking me different questions about commercial lately, just because they've been seeing me do shifting towards a lot more commercial, but it does happen. So I do have those details, and we continue to work hard and getting you guys the best information that's out there. So the national snapshot, July sales slipped once again. So these are sometimes people think during the summertime things are going to be really booming, things are going to be really happening, and sometimes that's just not the answer or what the situation is. And for those who've been following the market for a while, you've seen this happen time over time. What's been traditional has not been traditional. So existing home sales fell 1.7% month over month to a 4.01 million annual pace. Sales were still zero point 0.7 higher than July of 2025. So it's still better than last year. So keep that in mind. The market remains stable, not collapsing for all of those who are still wishful thinking. Oh 08, oh 09, no, we're not there. The South was one of the weaker regions as higher rates weighed on affordability. Yeah, that makes a big difference. So the South is a lot of people go to the South because it's warm. It's warm. Better weather, consistent weather, and just think people just for what they're paying and what's going on and opportunities, they're shifting. People are shifting. People are migrating south. First time home buyers represented only 29% of July sales, still below long run norms. So a lot of these, as these prices are going up, a lot of these first time home buyers are just kind of getting pushed out of the market. So it becomes a challenge. You always want to get our first time home buyers in the process, but at the end of the day, it's about affordability. And that's the big concern, that we don't have that, because owning a home is part of I say the American dream, as we may see, but that's how the culture is as you're trying to build generational wealth. Ownership is what helps you build generational wealth. So if you own a piece of property, that helps you in that path. And then also, being able to get into that. If you're working so hard and you're just releasing a property, it becomes a bit of a challenge, a mindset shift for you as well, because you're working so hard uh, and you don't own it. So it feels a little bit better when you do own it. Makes you, but we'll find where there's a will, there's a way. So just stay tuned. I like to give you guys the latest and greatest, give you guys updates as information does become available. So for the national snapshot, record level prices still matter. July median existing home price was 434 100, up 2% year over year. So we're up in that area. unsold inventory fell 1.9% to 1.54 million units, equal to 4.6 months of supply. Ooh. So 4.6 months of supply. So that means that inventory level is going up. So we definitely want to keep that in mind when we're looking at this uh, information. Other things that we want to make sure that we're considering: high rates, high prices are keeping the market from breaking loose. So a lot of people are just waiting for that instant green light. We're still steady on that yellow light, or what they call it, a orange light. We're still steady on the orange light. You got a lot of people that are on the fence, and then you got a lot of people that are just sitting still. They're sitting on the fence, or they're teeter tottering. They're making moves, but not everyone's at a green light. I can definitely tell you that. Homes are taking longer to sell, and fewer buyers are bidding above asking than a year ago. So we saw this coming in regards to offering over asking price. We saw that was definitely reducing. We saw a lot of that during the pandemic years. Yes, we did. But we also have seen that gone. It came and it went. So we're in a totally different market. And I know each market has its own micro markets, and I'm a true believer of that because it's definitely in the Tampa Bay area. But the thing is that offering above asking it must be a unique market. It's not a lot of that, or it's very low supply, and the inventory is low probably in that market, and what people are looking for tends to be very scarce, and that's why they're probably asking for over, and that way they can get in, get out, get the property, and keep it moving. So keep that in mind. But demand plus construction checks the warning signals. Yes, we definitely have some warning signals. So I want you guys to be aware of that. So July pending home sales fell 2.3% month over month. Single family housing starts dropped 9.9 to an 808,000 annual pace, the lowest since November of 2022. So keep in mind, November of 2022, that's inventory was still kind of low, but things were starting to shift a little bit. Um, so it was kind of at the cuffs there, right in that point. Total housing starts fell 12.4% to 1.239 million units. So this is on that construction. So demand and construction. Remember, for those who've been following me for a minute, this is what we call the builder settlement. So this is builders, they use this information, these statistics, to have them have a better understanding of what buyers are doing. Are buyers really getting into the market, and are buyers really looking to gravitate to home purchases at this time? So they use that statistics, and reason that this information is very helpful is because this allows them to have a better understanding of what projects or homes to actually start. So you don't want to have a whole bunch of homes that are started and they're ready to move into, and you don't have anybody that's looking to move into them. So it's kind of like the balance. When you're a builder, that's the statistics. You got to have a analytical team that is very aware of what people are wanting, the demand, and that's why you're getting. Since I'm in the trenches, as we say, you get a lot of people that are looking to purchase a home and the home's not ready. So they have to put it down bigger deposit these days. And before, people were had very little down, at least to get the project started, because what happened was the demand was so high that even if that contract fell through, they knew that they had someone else that would come and get that property, that they're waiting in the pipeline for it. Now it's not so short. So they want to make sure people are highly qualified, and if they need to do certain things, that their financial investment. And a lot of times these deposits are not, they're non-refundable. And there's some very, very strong language around that. At the end of the day, a builder does not want your deposit. They want you to close on that property. So keep that in mind. It's not a trick or anything to try to get you to pay a whole bunch of money up front. It's really that they want you to close on the property. They want you to have that dedication. They want you to go ahead and commit to it and get things happen. We understand things are happening in the market, but at the end of the day, they want you to close. So keep that in mind. So Florida, let's break it down. Like I said, we started on the national side. I'm coming down a little bit, so we're going to break it down into the Florida aspect. So dealing with Florida, A lot of people are seeing some changes. We understand that there's still a lot of people moving to Florida. Single family closed sales 23,870, up 5.1% year over year. So that's good. That's good news, right? Condos, townhomes closed sales 8,194. Now keep in mind a lot of this information that's coming. These are from national resources. This is from like your Florida realtors. This is from different updates or resources for the market updates. This is where this information is coming from. So this isn't me just pulling these numbers from anywhere. July marked 11 straight months. July marked 11 straight months of annual closed sales growth in both property categories. Yeah, so that's that's interesting. You got to look at the different categories because not everyone has the same type of a property that they're looking to sell. New pending sales also increased 2.4% for single family and 3.8% for condos and townhomes. And even with that being said, even with the townhomes and condos, there's competition there. With single family homes, there's competition there. Looking at these builders, especially in the Florida market, to turn a lot of those unwanted towns into communities that people really want to move to now because of the affordability. New pending sales increased. We just talked about that. Florida buyers are returning even without a major drop in mortgage rates. So people are starting to realize that, hey, what I was waiting on, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon. And it may not even happen at all. You know, some people have the mindset that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and wait for these interest rates to drop. We did see some drop in the interest rate, and a lot of people still stayed on the fence because they're like, well, it's going to drop a little bit more. Let me go ahead and just wait. And then what happened? They waited a couple of extra months, and those interest rates started to spike, creeping back up. So keep that in mind. If you're ready, stay ready. That's what I say. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that's what the name of the game is. If you're in a position where you actually have to sell your home, then you're going to sell your home. You know, you have to move somewhere else. You have to purchase somewhere else. Do not anticipate getting that low interest rate. And a lot of people who are being resell, they're selling their home and they're possibly looking at new construction. The reason a lot of people are possibly looking at new construction because they see the interest rates with from a lot of these builders, the incentives are ridiculous. So keep that in mind. The incentives are what people are looking at these days, and that is something to really consider. Now, in addition to that, Florida prices stabilize as inventory tightens. Yeah, like I said, they're not going to just start throwing a whole bunch of homes out there, especially on the new construction side. A lot of the sellers, as they may have tried to place their properties out there on the market, you may see the inventory tighten up a little bit more moving forward just because the selling season is almost coming to a close, but that's tradition. So let's not really stick to that just because what has been traditional in the real estate market has not been actual. So just keep in mind on that. You know, that's why I do this on a monthly basis. So you guys have the updates, you guys get the statistics. And as always, feel free to reach out to me if it is a consultation. It is a free consultation, no obligation. If you have questions, if you're looking to get um, an idea of what your property is doing in its current market, feel free to do so. Reach out to me, especially as it pertains to the Tampa Bay market. Now, I do have other folks that I work with that I may be able to refer you to or someone within the network if you are a serious person about getting their property sold. So that being said, let's keep on moving on. So we gave you the information. Condos, median home price 295,000. Yes, so the higher price condos maybe struggling a little bit. Also, single family supply fell to a 4.5 months. So that means that supply, remember we said about supply and demand, supply is low, prices can creep a little bit, but since we're at 4.5 months, we're really trending towards a buyer's market, really trending towards a buyer's market, really stabilizing there. Condo townhome supply was 7.8 months, so it's definitely a lot more supply on the condo townhome side. Still buyer leaning, but below earlier 2026 levels. So definitely, yeah, we're still definitely in the buyer on the buyer side with that. Negotiating when it was still open, but it may not be getting wider. So so the window not to get wider, inventory at over 7 months for condos and townhomes, whew, that's a lot of inventory. It's a lot of people that are in a position where they probably need to negotiate. And with them needing to negotiate, uh, this is, the part of the situation that people are in. They really need to negotiate. If you are selling, you need to sell. Really consider what you may need to do moving forward. All right. So other than that, let's go ahead and keep it going. Like I said, we're narrowing it down. Now we are to the Tampa Bay area. So keep in mind when I say the Tampa Bay area, a lot of people are like, okay, now I'm paying attention because I know a lot of people that watch this information, they're from the Tampa Bay area, or they're very curious about the Tampa Bay area and they're looking to move to the Tampa Bay area or invest into the Tampa Bay area. So that being said, keep in mind these numbers, statistics that I give you, I can give you more information, but I focus on Tampa, Manatee, and Hillsborough County. Only primary reason I do that is because that way this report isn't so huge. And I can give you that information, but I want to make sure it's effective. So that's why we don't go beyond these three counties, but I do have access to that information. And I do run those reports for myself, but not for the show. So keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and dive on in, right? Let's see what we got going on. All right, so Hillsborough. All right, broader buyer pool, but affordability and monthly payment remain central to negotiations. Keep that in mind. Everybody's negotiating these days. Everybody's looking for a deal. Trust me. Pinellas County, location and product quality still matter. Condos require the most careful fee/insurance analysis. Guys, and I've just and I won't go in depth about this because I know in the past I have, and people have asked me, hey, why do I spend so much time on that? But if you are looking at some of these condos, townhomes, the prices may be very attractive. Don't get me wrong, they are very attractive. But also keep in mind, a lot of these, all of the condos and townhomes, they have association fees. Some of these fees very typical. Then you have some fees you're just like, whoa, why are the fees so much more here at this location than the other location? So those are some of the things that you really have to analyze when you're looking at a property and you're trying to compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges. Look at that information. It's not that these fees are something you shouldn't have to pay, but it's part of the process. But also make sure it fits into what you're comparing it to. Great communities that the fees may be a little bit higher, but you have some amazing communities out there. The amenities, the things that you have access to, the privacy. I'm a privacy type of person, so I like the privacy aspect. So you may pay a few extra bucks for privacy, safety. These are some of the concerns that a lot of people have in mind when they are purchasing a home. So um, keep that in mind. Yeah, totally keep that in mind. Across all three counties, basically buyers are active, but they are not desperate. This is very true. The buyers are not being desperate. Buyers are a bit smarter these days, and something I tell my sellers, they're asking me all these questions. How am I getting the property marketed? What am I doing to get the property sold? And the big thing is, hey, are you using AI to help get this property sold? I'm like, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I leverage all of those plus all my years of experience, plus my team that I work with that helps me not only evaluate properties that are getting sold, but also properties that are being I have a number of mentees that we invest in properties. So people that I'm mentoring, I'm like, hey, let's look at this the traditional way. This is what's been going on. These are some of the numbers. Just because of experience, AI doesn't have a lot of this experience or have that local knowledge. Now, does as I start to train my AI, it begins to have that knowledge, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. But also keep in mind, not only am I using AI and trying to get a property sold, but who else is using AI? Exactly. Buyers are using AI. They want to know if they're getting a deal. Should they even be paying this amount for this property? Are there other properties that are similar to this property that I should consider? And it's an easy 2 seconds, 3 seconds. They like this property. Oh, I like this property. Oh, check AI, check to see if there's another property similar to this that may be priced differently or that may benefit my budget. 2 to 5 second research, they have the answers. They're getting properties, they're getting information that is being fed to them. So it's counterbalanced. So as a seller, really look at the analytics, really leverage what the local market is. A lot of sellers that are on the market, they don't have to sell, or they're willing to bear it out a little bit. But keep it in mind, because at the end of the day, buyers will be buyers. Buyers really determine the value of your home. You may think your home is worth this amount, but if there's no one willing to pay that amount, then it's only you that really think the value is up there. And it's not going to sell anytime soon. So hopefully you're not in a position where you have to sell. So not being desperate, but keep that in mind. So buyers are not desperate. The Tampa Bay MLS snapshot. I know everybody wants this information, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it up on the screen. Give you the snapshot. I take the time to get this information for you guys each month. So, median home price. You're looking, and this is residential. Median residential is $412,950. 36 days on market. Keep in mind, guys, these are from all multiple markets. There are multiple micro markets. If you have a property, I can specific property that you have questions about, how many days on market are properties in my specific community, how long are they lasting? Because there are some communities and there are some properties that are not selling in this time frame. Trust me, they are not. There are properties that are expiring, but it is a micro market. That's why I always tell you guys, take this information with a grain of salt. And if you are very serious about selling your property, feel free to contact me. Like I said, no obligation conversation that we can have regarding your specific home. All right, so 97.9% list to sell. So that's basically the list price. So you see the price reductions, but they're selling at 97.9% of list price. 5 months of inventory. Then you have 5,438 new listings. Now keep this in mind. This is the August report, so that means keep in mind that these are the July numbers. If you kind of get what I'm saying, I do the report in August, but I'm getting all of the data from July and getting that up to par. Now with the interest rates, those are pretty up to date. I try to keep that as close as possible when this information goes out. But like I said, things change. This is a moving market. When things are moving such as they are, um, you got to be mindful. You got to be careful with the updates. Trust me, even in my world, the business world, dealing with banks and everything along those lines, information is changing on a daily basis. That's why I'm part of a community. I encourage you to be a part of real estate with Chris Brown community, because this gives you an opportunity to kind of stay up to date as in what is happening. We do the state of the real estate market. We do this update once a month, gives us enough time. Also, I have some other groups that are doing investments. So if you guys are looking at investment properties, learning to invest, how to build generational wealth, definitely encourage you to do so. We definitely have some events that will be coming up, that are coming up very soon. So I encourage you guys to be a part of that. All right. So let's see here. All right, mortgage rates. Let's talk about mortgage rates for a little bit. So with the mortgage rates, all right, Freddie Mac 30-year fixed average 6.65%. And this is as of August 20th. That's why I say I try to get this as close as possible. Down from 6.67 in the prior week. So try to get this as close as possible. 15-year fixed average at 5.95%. Rates are slightly above where they were a year ago. It's that up and down with the rates. People who don't even know anything about interest rates have really been paying attention to them in the past couple of years. It's just been up and down, up and down. So really keep in mind, try to negotiate if you're in a process of purchasing a home. You're like, hey, at the interest rate that I have right now that I've been approved for, it makes it a little bit out of my. It takes a little bit out of my buy box. So negotiate. If you're working with a professional, have them negotiate. I've seen some interesting negotiations. Trust me, I've seen it. Definitely seen some interesting in negotiating, and it just makes it work, because at the end of the day, the seller's trying to sell, and if they have a serious buyer that is really trying to get qualified and make things happen, then this is what the route that they're going, negotiating. Rates are slightly above where they were a year ago and far above the sub six window from February. Because remember, we dipped, and when the rates dip, did you dip? I mean, dip off the fence. Some of you guys just looked at them dip and did not go anywhere. You're just like, oh, it's going to go down furthermore. I told you it's going back to that 3%. No, no, I've been telling you that for over. It's probably been a couple years now. That 3%. Yeah, not coming back anytime soon. So small rate movements are still affecting applications, but buyers do not build a strategy around predicting the next move. Ooh, I give some great information. I give some great information. Sometimes I gotta explain because I can see it going over people's heads. So for my visual folks, I'm gonna read that one more time. Small rate movements are still affecting applications, but buyers should not build a strategy around predicting the next move. So keep that in mind, guys. You got to see what's going to work for you right now and look at the long term. Now, it'd be a benefit if you buy a home and the rates drop significantly and you already purchased a home, you could always refinance to the lower price. Now, keep in mind, that's starting the clock over. So depending upon how far you're into this process, but keep that in mind. If that monthly investment is a concern, keep that in mind. But make sure that you're not what we call house poor. So, and what I mean by that, you get into a property and you can't do anything else. Everything revolves around the home. You can't go out and eat. You can't even stop and grab something from the market and bring it home for dinner for the family because you know that you are on a specific budget and everything, all meals need to be cooked at the house. And I understand how it is, trust me, because there are a number of nights where you are not going to want to cook a meal. So keep that in mind. Keep that flexibility. Just because you are approved for 600,000 doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go all the way up to 600,000. Go ahead and look at 550. Go ahead and look at 500 as well when you're looking to purchase a home. Or for those who are my $1 million folks, hey, if you can do it, you can do it. You're in a different position. You know what's going on. A lot of times those are bigger investments for you. And those luxury properties are really getting discounted. So if you're in that $1 million market, definitely let me know. There are a number of opportunities out there that you'll be like, hey, I will never get this price or be able to negotiate this type of property at this price. So keep that in mind. Financing strategies. We said we always talk about strategies. So financing strategies, shop multiple lenders rate and fee spreads matter at 6.5%. Yeah. Now that you're at a rate, these much higher rates, those other small costs that a lot of times we end up having to pay, it makes a difference. It starts to really dig into your pocket, and then this is where you get people to negotiate on your behalf. Seller credit strategically, closing costs, permanent buy downs and temporary buy downs or temporary buy downs. So keep this in mind. And these temporary buy downs and interest rates that they may have, these another way of saying adjustable rates. So keep that in mind and make sure you look at the full picture. It's not just getting qualified to get into the property, but how is it going to affect you, say, a year, 2, 3 years down the road, when that interest rate does change. And also if you're buying new, when those taxes change as well. So keep those fees in mind. Compare builder incentives to resale concessions on a total payment basis. So this is something I tell people a lot. If you're looking at new construction, it's great. They're going to have the incentives. They're going to have the incentives, upgrade incentives. They're going to have the interest rate incentives, but really compare it to the resale as well, because a lot of people are finding their way of being able to get more house for very close to new construction. And what I mean by that is because they are knowledgeable of negotiating, or they're working with someone that is understanding the current situation for negotiation. So that also being said, if there's a opportunity where the seller may have enough equity, hey, we increase the price here, we can go ahead and reduce the interest rate for you. We can buy down the interest rate for you. We can give you incentives to help towards your down payment, towards your closing costs. Um, there's a lot of things. Just like I say, be ready, or excuse me, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Just be in the position. Just know that buyers are in a different position these days. So avoid draining reserves. Health is wealth. Sustainable ownership beats winning a bidding war. Like I said, keep in mind you're not pushing up the prices. You're not in a bidding war. You want home ownership, peace of mind. Keep your health together, guys. This can be a stressful process, whether it's in today's market or yesterday's market. It can be stressful when you're purchasing a new home, you're moving your family. It's a big financial investment. Trust me, it is. So, running through this, builder incentives are still part of the story. Nearly what 2/3 of builders are using incentives to stimulate demand, builder confidence improved to 35, and this is that scale, that builder incentive scale. It's up at 35. Keep in mind during the pandemic we were up in the 40s. So um, but remains well below the 50 mark, neutral mark. About 30% are cutting prices. Yeah, you are seeing new construction. Oh my goodness. I have a listing where the builder cut prices on a number of their projects. They had a couple of their larger projects that came to the market, and to help stimulate the market, they did a ridiculous incentive. I mean, like, ooh, I couldn't blame anyone not really looking at property where I have a listing. But what happens is they're doing that and they only have like one property. So what ends up happening is that if you do go into that process, and let me bring this over here. So if you do find yourself in a similar situation, be prepared to one, put down a big chunk, a big amount of money up front. And this is not just for part of the closing. So typically, a lot of times they're going to say 1%. They may be asking for more than 1%. They may be asking for 5% upfront with the contract. I've seen that. So keep that in mind. If you have it, you have it. Um, the incentives are different these days, but just because it looks good on paper, make sure you back up and really compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges when you're dealing with that. So keep that in mind, guys. Other things, new construction can create a buyer opportunity. Yes, it can, but only after compare taxes, HOA, CDD fees, insurance, and resale competition. Like I said, don't cut the resale property short. Really look at it. Really look to see what else is in that same community. If you're buying in a community, that may be a resale, and you're competing with new construction, or you have the option of new construction, both ways, as a buyer or as a seller, or seller as or as a buyer. So buyers. So this is the leverage check. So this is information that I like to just share, quick tidbits. People are always asking me, Chris, what are some of the tips that you can share with me? What are some tips that you can share with me if I'm looking to buy a home? So Florida has more momentum these days. It has a lot more momentum, negotiation price and terms as a buyer. It's negotiable. A lot of these properties, it's negotiable. There was at one point that was saying that, hey, if you put any contingencies on a contract, it won't even get looked at. Now, if you just submit a contract, they're looking. They're just looking. They're just like, oh, thank you, thank you. Let's see what we can work out. Let's see what we can negotiate. It sounds like you're really interested in this property. So, like I said, there was a point in time that if you put anything on a contract that was uh, contingencies, they'll ball it up, throw it away. It's not even being looked at. I'll be honest with you. Um, State payment discipline for my buyers. Keep that in mind. You know what your buyer, know what your payment needs to be moving forward. Do not be home poor because these interest rates are high up there. And if you haven't been in the property for a couple of years, you're going to have some fluctuations in the price and the house cost. And what I mean by that is, like I said, HOAs may change a little bit. A lot of these homes that people are buying into, the builders are maybe paying the HOA for like the first year, first 12 months. And so you don't have that to pay. So now, after that first year, you having that increase, as in, like, man, I'm shelling out more money for the house nowadays. Taxes will change. Oh, man. Insurance will change at times. Yeah. So keep that in mind. So keep that in mind. You want to give yourself a little bit of cushion there, or a bit of a cushion, so that you are comfortable, and because you do not need that stress. Remember, I said health is wealth. Health is wealth. Keep that in mind. For my sellers, ooh, what we got for the sellers? What we got for the sellers? Sellers, demand exists. Yes, there's still people out there buying. Inventory is tightening. Keep that in mind, guys. Inventory is tightening. There's a good amount of inventory, but it's hopefully plateauing a little bit to kind of help sellers, because I deal with a lot of sellers and trying to get their properties sold. So hopefully that is the case. But it's also about presentation. Price for today, not 2022. Yes, stop trying to price for the pandemic years. Price for today. You got to know what's out there. I know I have to have a couple of strong conversations with some people that are interested in selling their property. Last time that we spoke, we were up there, or they were up there, and I'm like, hey, you want to consider dropping that price point. Really consider dropping the price point. And reason being is because um, people aren't going for that. They're really educated. They really want to see what other opportunities. Like I said, buyers are a bit smarter, and they have that assistant over there with the initials AI on it. So they're really comparing what opportunities else that are out there. So keep that in mind. Investors, underwrite hard. Know your numbers. Yes, do not get caught in this situation. Do not be in a position where you are trying to predict the future. So don't fall for that. Look for durable income. Use market friction as leverage. There's a lot going on in the market right now, investors. So understand your strategy, and not every strategy may fit for you. Just because someone is popular on TikTok, YouTube, and they're talking about a particular strategy, that strategy may not fit you. So that's why I always tell people to work with mentor, like my mentees that I work with, and we're getting these properties. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on here. Your current situation is this. We went in saying that, hey, we're going to go ahead. We stuck to the strategy. We're going to do a buy and hold. We're going to buy and hold two. We know we won't have to worry about if we're doing hard money. We make sure that you're in a position that you're able to refinance. So financially, you're in a good position. You understand what you're up against. We have the numbers. We have the leverage of additional cash if needed for surprises. So make sure you're including that when we're moving forward. Understanding how we're buying it and how we're refinancing it as well, so that you have equity in the property moving forward, keeping those that cost, that monthly investment down as well. So keep that in mind moving forward. Stretch my investors. We appreciate you, investors, because you keep me going. All right. So investing late summer, more money moves for everybody that's out there. I love giving this information. So more money moves, the opportunity is less about chasing appreciation and more about buying income at the right basis. So sometimes, when they say you make money when you purchase, you make money while you hold on to the property, and you make money when you sell the property. That's what you want to keep in mind. It's not about you hold it for a long period of time, you're struggling, 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 and then when you sell it, you finally make money, and then you finally don't have the stress anymore. Look at all three of those aspects. Make money before, during, and after. Florida investors must stress test insurance taxes and HOAs, all these different fees. That's what makes a difference. It can have you going from a nice monthly cash flow to really taking a chunk out of that cash flow and making it very minimum. So really understand your numbers when you're setting up these deals. Um, Also, individual investors, second home buyers remain an important part of the market, but financing and holding costs punish weak assumptions. So these are for the small guys, small investors that may not have a strategy, who may not be working with a mentor, who, for whatever reason, they just don't have all the information. So a lot of times these small mistakes can really impact the smaller investor. So really having an idea of where you're trying to get these properties, because when you can get them at the numbers that you're looking at, you won't have any situation. Okay, the numbers that you knew. Was it MOA, maximum allowable, Mayo, I'm talking MOA, Mayo, maximum allowable offers. So that's MAO, Mayo. So understand what your Mayo is. When you understand what your Mayo is, when you're making these different investments, you won't find, you're going to probably get some pushback, but it's all about the numbers as well. Because in today's market, a lot of these properties, you may have a seller that say, hey, that price doesn't sound good, but, this is not going to work. But when you go back and you're like, hey, 60 days later, like, that property's still on the market. And you just want to refresh them, like, hey, I'm still over here offering this for the property. Just like, you know what? I'm tired of being on the market. Let me go ahead and go to your Mayo. Let's make sure that you're serious. Now you got to be serious. You're giving these offers. Not that it's not 08, 09 either. So I don't think you're gonna get those prices. But it is giving yourself a little bit more room in the beginning so that you can build equity over the years of you having that property. So if you're in the buying hold, if you're buying and flipping, from a buying and flippers, just be mindful of what you are getting into. Okay. Properties are staying on the market. Understand your market. They're micro markets, so be very specific. Just because they have a deal across town doesn't necessarily mean that it's a flippable property for you. So keep that in mind. You want to get down to your zip code or even to your exact community, if you want to really be finite about what it is that you're trying to flip if you're in the flipping market. So keep that in mind, guys. All right. Other than that, let's keep it moving. Commercial real estate. We like commercial real estate. So for my commercial folks, U.S. multifamily absorbed 167 units in quarter two, more than new completion for the second quarter. Awesome. Industrial vacancy fell to 6.5% national as construction slowed and leases strengthened. Ooh, that tightened up. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, office net absorption nearly double quarter over quarter to 12.6 square feet, 12.6 million square feet. Top quality space continues to lead. Commercial real estate lending remaining healthy in quarter two. Smart money theme, quality, income, and financing access matter more than broad sector labels. Keep that in mind. Commercial real estate is very interesting. I'm absorbing a lot lately with commercial real estate, so I'm really appreciating. So industrial in the Tampa Bay area, industrial real estate is industrial commercial real estate. It's solid. It's solid. So it's holding up. It's holding up the test, the resiliency test. It is holding up. You're finding a lot of industrial, small and mid-sized industrial buildings that are being built around the Tampa Bay area, brand new, and you're finding businesses filling them up. You're not seeing once they complete these projects, you're seeing the whole park, industrial park, fill up pretty quickly, and especially in the Tampa Bay area because we're a port, we're near the water, so it makes it very convenient for a lot of people where they're like, "Hey, we're right next to the water. We can avoid a lot of costs by just setting up right here next to the water." So keep that in mind. So that those shipping loads and all of that good stuff, they're right next to the water. So they're just driving the truck from the industrial park to a mile or around the corner to the shipyard. So keep that in mind. Um, Quality. The Tampa story is not everything wins. It is increasingly asset specific. So keep that in mind. If people are looking at the assets, kind of seeing what value can be added with this commercial real estate, guys. So we do have our Q&A. I know we went over a bit today. This report was very lengthy, but it was a lot of great information. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the latest and greatest because we're talking about buying, talking about selling, we're talking about industrial, we're talking about commercial real estate, talking about development, builders. I love it. So this is State of the Real Estate Market. Stay tuned for the next one. I know we had some questions. I know I answered a bunch of questions along the way. Other things people are asking me about other events that are coming up. So some of the events that we do have coming up, we do have Real Estate Gold Diggers that will be coming up as well. That will be in September, and that will be actually be September. Give me a moment. September 24th and September 25th. Then we also have live in person um, Common mistakes to avoid when building generational wealth. That is going to be October 10th, Saturday, October 10th. So keep that in mind. Those are two big events. Our next State of the Real Estate Market event will be September 18th. So keep that in mind, guys. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having a great weekend. I hope you guys do the same. Continue investing, continue building generational wealth. Those are some of the questions. Interest rates. If you guys also when I will be sending out a replay for everyone who registered for this event, there will be a replay that'll go out. Once that replay goes out, you'll be able to review these information. You'll be able to review the slides. Book a one-on-one. If you're in the Tampa Bay area and thinking about selling your property or investing in real estate, go ahead and book a one-on-one. Let's talk about it. I've just had someone, we just finished a one-on-one. Somebody had a property that they were investing in, and they weren't even really thinking outside the box. And just having that conversation with me, they were like, I never even thought that I could do this with this property. So, and even with some of the things that information I provided with them, they want to go ahead and move forward with it. But they even asked me if I want to partner with them. So it is an opportunity. One, they want to make sure it does go smoother than smooth than that they can. Not every project is smooth. I don't want to say every project goes smooth. There's always some obstacle that you have to get over, but this is where the experience comes in that allows you to make that shift, the necessary shift to go ahead and at the end of the day complete the project. That's the most important thing. Complete the project. That's what's important, especially when you're dealing with hard money lenders. You want to make sure that that money is getting done. So also we do have a recap that will be going out. I will be sending that out to you. So make sure that you've registered. For everyone that did register for this, that recap will be going out. For all our registered attendees, as I mentioned, the next State of the Real Estate Market event will be September 18th at 1 p.m. Follow me on social media at Chris Brown RE Pro. Check me out, guys. I will see you there. I appreciate you once again. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. It's been a great opportunity to connect with you guys. I look forward to uh, next month's State of the Real Estate Market. Also helping other individuals. Follow me on social media because you're gonna find that I do a whole bunch of different trainings, free information. Just giving value, whether it's about investing, is whether about getting your property sold, things to consider. Um, it's out there. So, all right, guys, take care. Stay in real estate market with yours truly. Be sure to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is where we not only talk about buying, selling, investing in real estate, but we'll also talk about hot topics about different entrepreneur hot topics. We also talk about building generational wealth, going from that paycheck to ownership. Yes, the paycheck to ownership. That's what it's all about. And then we just talk about health as well. Just staying healthy. You always hear me drop a couple of nuggets in regards to health as well. So take care, guys. Peace.